Today on First Cup, we're going to dig through the massive pile of stuff you guys left me to talk about, from jokes to questions about computer programming languages. It's all here. And yes, we're going to bring it all back to martial arts. Stick around. We're rolling in 12. Doing that math on the fly. I got my coffee with some bonus coffee grounds from yesterday. 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Today is Friday. FRI-Yay, woo! January 21st, 2022. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. Good morning, Andrew and Daniel and Jenny and Stacy and Dennis. And good morning to all of you, whether you are watching live or later or perhaps listening. I appreciate you joining me here on First Cup. It is Stacy's birthday. Stacy is in the chat. Good morning. How honored am I that you start your day, your birthday, with this show. That's pretty darn cool. And I hope, no, Microsoft, you don't need that right now. Stacy, I hope you will stop it. Microsoft, stop it. Just go away. Leave me alone. I hope you will let all of us know your plans for the day and for the weekend, as it is your birthday. I know that I'm going to see Stacy tomorrow when she comes to take photos at a couple seminars that I'm doing for Kelly, who would not surprise me if she showed up in the chat tomorrow. Be traveling over. I'll see. I think Craig's coming. I don't know if any of the rest of you are going to be there, but it'll be a good time. Yeah, looking forward to it. I woke up to the coldest temperature I've seen in a while on the thermometer, -20. And that was at almost 6 o'clock. So what was it overnight? I don't like it. I don't like it that cold. It's too cold. And Stacy has a half day off from work. How cool is that? From the new job. Things are just coming up aces. Yesterday was a different sort of day. So originally, I think I told you all, I was going to go to Manchester. I was going to train, do some Superfoot stuff. But that got walked back. Terry said, you look good for testing. You don't need to come down. And I love training. But at the same time, it's a whole day. It's a whole day between the travel back and forth, and it takes time out of Terry's day. And we just kind of agreed, you know what, let's just punt on this one, and you know, we'll pick it back up and resume training next month. Cool, I'm game for that. So instead, I did a whole bunch of errands. I ended up just traveling around, some errands involved, seeing some people I know, some errands involved seeing people I didn't know, and I'm going back and forth. You know, finally okay, I bet most of you have one of these things, have a thing like this, where someone gave it to you. In this case, my father gave me an old pocket watch from my grandfather. Excuse me. Broken. And I've had this thing for 20 years. And I finally decided I'm going to bring it. There's a store that I like. I'm never near there, but I had a battery in a watch that needed to be replaced. And I said, you know, I'll bring this and find out if it's worth fixing. And so I bring it. I was hopeful that it was worth fixing, not just because I wanted to fix, you know, a cool watch. But because this business has been so kind to me. They've done, before I knew how to adjust watch bands, they would do that for me. And they're so cheap. I walk in off the street with a watch. Will you change this battery for me? Because it was weird on the inside. It was a whole setup. I was like, I'm not messing with this. Normally I'll change a watch battery. $10. I didn't have to wait. They just did it. $10. And they've done stuff like this for me for years. They're not making money on that. Right? If it takes them 10 minutes What are they charging? $50 an hour to change watch batteries? Like, that's not enough. And so I was looking forward to actually having something I could pay them for. Nope. He described it as a drugstore pocket watch. So that was a bummer. Okay. Oh, good morning, Mark. So Stacy says, today, cleaning a trouble spot in the house, having a beautiful Delmonico game night with Smashing Napoli and Machina. We'll say hi to both of them for me, please. And tomorrow, taking photos with my martial arts fam, as noted. Tim says, bless you. Thank you. Good morning and have a good day. Andy, yes, I will see you tomorrow. Oh, everybody's just being very nice. I love this group. This group just makes me really happy. I appreciate all of you. What else did I do? Made some food, cleaned my house, did a little bit of work, got a bunch of work I got to do today. I needed the space to clear my head yesterday. Thursdays are a day I don't often have meetings, and I try not to have meetings on Fridays, but one of my clients, I've got a recurring Friday meeting now. But that's okay. I'm not going to be able to make all of them, and they know that. So do what I can. Oh, there's Kelly. Hello, Kelly. Good morning. Oh, and watching Rocky Horror Picture Show with a Meatloaf dinner. Yeah, Meatloaf died. How rough is that? You know, I'm not going to take anything away from modern era musicians who have made an impact on their fans. Great example, right? Someone like Mac Miller. Most of you probably don't know who he is. He is what I would consider a modern era rapper, had a pretty broad fan base, died of an overdose. His fans were heartbroken. This was, 5 years ago? His fans were heartbroken, as you would assume. His career did not span enough time to make the impact on the number of people that someone like Meatloaf did, whose career literally was longer than my life. And up until recently, he was still touring. Yeah. So that's a bummer. It's a bummer when any artist passes away, but I am thankful that at least someone like him, he received the recognition that he deserved while he was alive. So many artists, people don't recognize until they pass away, and I always find that a shame. Like Amy Winehouse. I felt like people didn't really appreciate Amy Winehouse while she was alive. I did. I thought she was brilliant. But then she passed away, and everybody was like, oh, Amy Winehouse. Where were you before? Anything else of note for today? I don't think so. The house is cleaner than it's been in a while. I needed that. Do you ever have that where you look around your physical space and you feel off because your space is off, because it's cluttered or it's dirty or things aren't put away? You know, you look around, there's 3 piles of laundry that have to go away, and there are dishes in the drain, and more dishes that need to be washed, and maybe you've got some other stuff pulled out. You know, I'm a pile person. There's my Atlantic City pile. My pile for tomorrow has migrated to the garage, so I make sure that I bring it in, or that I put it in the car. Right? My piles in the bedroom, laundry, right? Like I'm a pile person, but I dealt with all the piles yesterday, and I feel better. It feels nice to be in this space, which it needs to feel nice because it's really cold, and I'm not going anywhere. All right, I'm gonna switch gears. Stacey says, yep, and that's part of the self-care celebration for the day. I think that's a great way to look at it. How do you take care of yourself? If there's a day that deserves taking care of you, it is your birthday. Okie doke. I'm going to dig right in. It's about 5 minutes earlier than I would normally switch gears from the monologue. I use that term very loosely section of the show to the submission section of the show because you all went crazy here. All right, we're going to start with jokes. And we had jokes from multiple people today. All right. So I've got Daniel opening for Frank here. Today, Friday 21st, is Squirrel Appreciation Day. I was trying to come up with a few squirrel puns to make you laugh, but they were all too nutty. A wise squirrel once said, "You are what you eat." He was nuts. Squirrels are very good at explaining things because they give it to you in a nutshell. Have you heard about the new squirrel diet? It's just nuts. What smells like nuts but is impossible to see? Squirrel farts. I like that one. What did the father squirrel tell his family? A corny joke. Where do squirrels go for their summer holidays? To beech trees. Very good stuff. Thank you, Daniel. Stacy says, Daniel, it is Squirrel Appreciation Day, one of my two favorite wacky holidays, the other being Sneak Some Zucchini Under Your Neighbor's Porch Day in August. I don't know if everyone celebrates that or if that's just a New England thing, because whether you celebrate it as a holiday or not, that's definitely a thing that happens. You're like, I don't know what to do with all this. And you put it in like open car windows when you're, yeah, that's real. I once sent a neighbor the text, "I broke into your house and left you blueberries," because I had too many blueberries. All right. Where did Frank's go? Where are they? Here we go. The jokes for Funday Friday, courtesy of Frank. Yesterday was National Cheese Lovers Day. What do you call a dinosaur made of cheese? Gorgonzilla. What's a cheese's favorite music? R&B. What did one cheese yell at the other? Leave provolone. Why did the cheese smile? It's Gouda Brie a good day. Why were mozzarella and feta holding hands? They look good together. What did the frustrated cheese say? I'm feta up. Solid. I appreciate jokes like this where the joke isn't just the word, but it's kind of it's the word play, it's the sound. I enjoy those. There's probably a better name for that, but I'm not fully awake. And Jenny sent this. I'm going to put this up on screen because this is ridiculous, and I want everyone to see it. Stacy says, "Damn it, now I want Gouda." Gouda was, when I was a kid, Gouda cheese was like the special treat that my mother would buy for me. She would always have cheese in the house. I loved cheese. She was more than happy to feed me plenty of dairy. I did well with dairy. My teeth are in great shape other than, the one, but that all cascaded from martial arts. So. But Gouda cheese was a thing. We didn't have a lot of money, but like a nice wheel of Gouda was something that apparently we could afford once in a while. So she would buy that. Jenny says, same. I love cheese jokes. I try to milk them for all they are worth. They are just too cheesy. All right, where did I do that? Okay, right here. Share screen. I'm going to share this tab. Here it is. All right, so what you're looking at is C-Force. Chuck Norris, it's got his face on the package. Premium artesian water, a force of nature. It also says naturally alkaline. Most water is pretty close to alkaline. Doesn't take much to do that. And apparently, Matt, Jenny's husband, found this at work. So grabbed a case. Here's what I want to know. I want to know if it gives you superpowers. That's what I want to know, truly. I'm going to guess not, but that's okay. It's good stuff. Chuck Norris water. Who knew? I had no idea. Let's see. Question from Daniel, and Frank had some quotes. Where are they? Here they are. Here's some Taoism quotes. Kindness in words creates confidence. Kindness in thinking creates profoundness. Kindness in giving creates love. We need more love in the world. How do we get that? You give it. It is the best illustration of simple and not easy that I can think of. The world needs more love. The world needs more loving people. We need to make more of an effort, I think, to highlight loving acts from others and to be loving individuals. And I've always felt this way. I haven't always used those words to describe it because as an adult man in Western culture, talking like that it's not celebrated. And as you get older, it's more tolerated. But in my 20s, I mean, what 20-something male is going to talk like that? Very few. Now it's more likely than it would have been 20 years ago when I was in my 20s. But I think it truly is the distillation of what we should be working on. Teaching martial arts the way most instructors do it is a loving act. You are giving of yourself to help others. It is an act of service. Yes, it is compensated. But if you were to think about the investment that went into becoming the instructor that was able to teach those classes, it's a lot of time. It's a tremendous amount of money, even if you put a small value on it, plus the time spent traveling, etc. How much have I spent to be the martial artist I am today in terms of dollars? It's more than thousands. Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. If I factor time in there, I've invested more in my martial arts skills than I did in college. For sure. I don't think I'm at the point of millions, but certainly hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I'm not alone in that. Taking that investment and sharing it with others, that's love. I need 2 screens on this. People are still celebrating the water. Apparently, C-Force is available on Amazon and at cforce.com. People are coming up with slogans. Ooh, a roundhouse kick in every bottle. Next. Oh, by the way, if you want to buy things, the FRI-Yay mug, still available. Won't be forever. whistlekick.com. A leader is best when people barely know he exists. when his work is done, his aim fulfilled, they will say, we did it ourselves. The best illustration of quality leadership that I'm familiar with comes from the book Good to Great by Jim Collins, where he describes 5 levels of leadership and the rare level 5 leader. Not all of those level 5 leaders are this illustration, but the one that this reminds me of most. The best leaders, when they depart, things don't fall apart. There are plenty of examples of brilliant leaders who cannot create a legacy, that without them, things don't flourish. When Steve Jobs left, people assumed that without his really overbearing, dramatic personality, Apple would collapse. It struggled a bit to find its footing, but it's worth more than ever now, doing plenty of big things. And you can credit a lot of that to Steve Jobs and the company that he created twice. Last one, and then I'm looking forward to Daniel's question here. Being deeply loved by someone gives you strength, while loving someone deeply gives you courage. You could say the same thing about a thing, a pursuit. Have you ever, let's see, how do I put this into words? Have you ever been scared to do something? Maybe competing, promotion, stepping in front of people, to do martial arts for a purpose. Why did you do it? Right? You didn't have to. You don't have to earn that promotion. You don't have to compete in that tournament. Why do you do it? Because you love what you do. You love that pursuit, that hobby, that interest, whether it's martial arts or something else. Or maybe because you love yourself. The love overpowers the fear such that you do it. That's powerful. Recognizing that, I think, is even more powerful. And I wish we spent more time in recognition of how much love overpowers fear. I've talked a bit that I'm concerned with some of the things coming this year. And what keeps the fear at bay? Love of myself, love of what I do here, love of other people. Because love solves problems. Dennis says, love my FRI-Yay mug. And Jenny says, Matt has a great book called 5 Levels of Leadership by John C. Maxwell. Changed his perspective and he lives the philosophy. I am familiar with Maxwell's work. I have not read that book. Coffee. This is one of the best parts of my day. I was trying to say that in 3 different ways at the same time. It didn't work. This is one of my favorite parts of my day. Waking up, the whole day in front of me, talking to all of you, and drinking coffee. It's kind of great. All right. So, and finally, and I like this because this is a very different sort of question. And you guys can ask me anything. I suppose there are limits to what I will answer, but you can ask me anything. Daniel says, so nobody other than me is going to be interested in the answer to this question, so feel free to ignore it for more interesting content. You've spoken recently about diving into the code of the whistlekick website. What programming languages are you proficient in, and which one would you say is the most useful in 2022? So for those of you who don't know, I went to college for computer science and philosophy. And back when I was going to school for computer science, it was all Java. In hindsight and in frustration, Java was too high of a level programming language for us to really learn what we should have learned. We should have been learning concepts. We were learning, I don't know what. I had a tutor who taught me a little bit of C. I've forgotten all of that. I've forgotten all of my Java because once I graduated, I did absolutely nothing with it because I learned I hated programming, with one exception: web pages. I started college in 1997, but I made my first web pages in 94, back before there was any kind of editor. If you wanted a web page, you had to sit there and code, and if it didn't work right, you had to dig through and find, okay, like, am I missing a bracket or a brace somewhere? What is happening? Did I not close a comment? And I made some pretty cool web pages. And that remains the most valuable skill set for what I do when I'm working on web design for clients. I don't know CSS. I don't know JavaScript. I've done some JavaScripting. I know HTML. And there are times where I have to go in and find things. Where is this coming from? Even if it's WordPress or something. There are times that having, and here's where I'm going to loop back to martial arts, having that understanding of the fundamentals and really, really putting in a lot of time at the root of that skill set, that technology, allows me to do things at a much higher level quickly. I have a similar philosophy with martial arts. Over the last few years, one of the things that has come to light is that what makes me, quote unquote, special as a martial artist is not what most people would think. Most people, if they're touring, doing seminars, are doing it because they are known for something competitively, or they are, they're a great kicker, or they're amazing at forms or flexibility. And I can hang with all of those things, but I am not the best in the world at any of those things. If there is something that I'm really good at with regard to the physical expression of martial arts, it is my ability to unpack movement, boil it down into simple parts, understand it, and find the details in people where they can improve, regardless of what they do and how long they've been doing it. Where does that come from? My understanding of the fundamentals of martial arts technique, because we drilled basics constantly. And not just going up and down the floor, kick, kick, kick. We did it in different ways. We learned to understand our own movement and each other's movement. And then the block of time that I spent teaching movement as gymnastics, as CrossFit, with my own martial arts school, etc., gave me the ability to kind of read between the lines on people. And the drills that I'm teaching at tomorrow's seminar, most of the time when I travel, I'm teaching from a pretty simple and consistent group of drills to help people move in that direction so that they can understand and unpack their own movement and other people's movement. Hopefully you see where those two are in parallel. Jenny's, so I'm going to go back through these. Jenny says, Matt said your coffee would have a better kick if you made it with C-Force water. That's probably true. Oh, this thing is rough today. Maybe I got to reboot it. Maybe that's why it was doing what it was doing. Come on, computer. There we go. Okay. says, for context, I've just signed up to study front-end web development, not because I'm changing jobs, but just because I like learning. Awesome. I think the best thing that you could do, because I know you have a business, if I'm assuming you have a website, build a new website. Build a new website in a different technology. If your website's in WordPress, build one in Squarespace. If it's in Squarespace or Shopify or Wix or Weebly, build it in WordPress. And then challenge yourself. What could your website do? Figure it out. There is always a way. With modern web technology, there's always a way. It doesn't mean it's worth the time and money, but there is always a way. So figuring out what that way is, I think, is really valuable. Stacy says, yes to hard-coded web pages. I remember doing that. Kelly says, tomorrow is going to be epic. Thanks for coming to my school. I look forward to it. And Daniel says, I do indeed have a WordPress site. Well, then I would suggest you swap to a new theme. How old is your website? And if you want to talk about this more, offline, away from here, happy to do so. I hope that made sense. I hope the discussion of how those things relate makes sense. I think as martial artists, we celebrate the higher level stuff because it's cool, it's sexy, it's fun. But if you want to get better, you have to spend the time on the basics. How do you enable a building to be built taller? You increase the quality of the foundation, right? If you're talking about a pyramid, how do you build a taller pyramid? You make a wider base. Same idea. There is nothing I can imagine where improving the quality of the fundamentals does not translate up. And so many people spend so little time on the basics. So a challenge to all of you this weekend. Spend 5 minutes and just go through all of your basic techniques. Just do a quick check-in. How's my high block? How's my low block? What's going on with my front kick? Whatever techniques you have. They feeling off? They feel okay? Maybe do them in front of a mirror. Maybe if you want to turn that 5 minutes into 6 or 7, you spend 2-3 minutes, you film it on your camera, record it, film it, record it on your phone. There we go. And you watch it. Oh. The modern day cell phone is the most undervalued tool for personal martial arts development. Watch yourself. Trust me. Oh, thank you, Dennis. Dennis is too kind. Dennis says, here, I will force myself to do this. I do not receive praise well, but I'm working on it. Dennis says, Kelly, Jeremy is a tremendous teacher and the seminar is fantabulous. Your students will get so much out of it. Thank you. Okie doke. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Come back and see me on Monday. Leave me some questions or comments in Facebook for that. Email me if you don't do Facebook, facebook.com/firstcupwithjeremy. If you want to support us, we've got the Patreon. We've got stuff like this cool mug at whistlekick.com. You can use the code FIRSTCUP15 to save 15%. And if you want everything that we do, that you can do, that you should do, I don't know, whistlekick.com/family. It's all the links and everything. And once in a while, we put some other cool stuff in there, like maybe some exclusive discounts, or maybe some behind the scenes photos or whatever else. It's kind of like a free Patreon. So check that out. And we're here every weekday, 6:30 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time. Have a great day, all of you. Happy birthday again to Stacy. Thanks for joining me. Take care, everyone. Peace.